Today I will be talking about the bubonic plague pandemic, or also known as the Black Death. The bubonic plague pandemic was one of the worst pandemics worldwide. It occurred over a short time period, but it had big impacts on society. It was the first and most severe manifestation of the second pandemic. And it came from China, and it was spread by the rats that were in the ships. And because the ships traveled around the sea, it spread to other places. I chose to talk about the Black Death in medieval England in 1348 till 1350. I already said that the disease came from the rats in the ships. It came to England. People who caught it usually died 7 days later after they got the disease. This disease killed over 1/3 of the population. That means it killed 1.5 million out of 4 million people in the medieval England. There was no medical knowledge, so that is why a lot of people also died. Peasants were terrified at the news that the Black Death would come to their town. That's why they were really careful what they did and what their families did. Survivors created a country of higher wages and peasants with a determined sense of their own worth. People say that the 14th century was nasty, brutish, and short. Peasants who survived the Black Death had higher wages and the opportunities to buy cheap land. Some peasants had increasing freedoms to choose where they worked and lived. They were no longer tied to their lords of the manor. However, most peasants still faced a hard life doing their duties for their lords. The price of food increased massively as fewer peasants meant less food was produced. In the long term, this led many lords to keep sheep instead of growing crops. Trade in Britain and with other countries was significantly reduced in the immediate aftermath of the plague. Some towns and villages fell into ruin and were never rebuilt. The Black Death killed people from all levels of society. Many people died or lost relatives to the plague. It killed over 1/3 of the population. Power in Britain still remained with the king and nobility, but peasants still had no say in the running of the country. The Black Death created some discontent about wages and living conditions. Over a number of years, some peasants and religious leaders demanded increasing rights and power, which led to the Peasant Revolution. 3 years after the Black Death, the government restricted the amount of wages peasants could be paid with the statute of limitations. Peasants found themselves forced to work for the lords again. During the Black Death, people lost faith in the church because so many people died, so they stopped believing in the church. For those with the opportunity and ability to seize it, the Black Death presented a golden opportunity for advancement. Some peasants benefited greatly to become free and independent farmers.